Hi, I'm Claire Messingham from the Happiness Bank, and thank you so much for joining me for this week's video blog. It's springtime in Australia and already the afternoon thunderstorms are starting to roll in. We had our first one for the season last Thursday and I was so intrigued by the way I reacted to it that I just had to share it with you this week. So it was 3:30 in the afternoon and the office at work was getting a bit dark and people had started to pop their heads up from their desks, a bit like meerkats. There was a gentle hum and a feeling of restlessness, like something was dark, was looming in the distance. Then the questions started to come thick and fast. Hey Deb, where is your car parked? Is it undercover? Lucy, have you got your washing on the line? Rach, did you bring in your umbrella today? And the gentle hum got a bit louder and the restlessness a bit more evident, and then fear started to creep through the office. Fear that you would get caught in the rain, fear that your car will get held on, fear that the train signals may not work, and fear that you may not even get home. The office got darker, people became more anxious, and all of a sudden, computers were turned off, desks were packed up, cars were moved, and people started to run. I got swept up in this fear. My mind was in overdrive. What if I got drenched getting to the train station? What if the trains were delayed and, oh my goodness, I was stuck in Milton for a few hours? What if I couldn't get to meditation on my way home? I'd been looking forward to that all day. And what if my husband had a car accident driving home in the rain? Before I knew it, I was heading out the door and running to the station. My breathing was shallow, my heart was thumping, my stomach was in knots, and I had this insatiable urge to get home and just be snuggled up in my house safely. Raindrops were already falling, lightning was flashing in the distance, and seriously, it looked like Armageddon was on its way. I half walked and I half ran to Milton Road, and it wasn't until I got to the traffic lights to cross the road that I realised in my haste to get out of the office, I'd left my mobile phone on the desk. There was no way I was going home without my phone, so I turned around, defeated, and I headed back to the office knowing that I'd missed my opportunity to flee. Now, as I walked back to my desk, sat down and turned my computer on, I took a deep breath and I said to myself, Claire Messingham, calm down, this is ridiculous. It was then that I really took note of what had just happened. Fear had literally shut down all of my capacity to think rationally. How had I got myself so caught up in all the emotion and fear? My goodness, it was just a storm. It would come and there would be rain and thunder, lightning and maybe some hail. It would also pass and the sun would come out again. I'm sure I wouldn't have been stranded in the office for the whole night. And if I didn't get to my meditation class, that was okay too, because Thursday would come around again and there would be another class to go to. Breathe, Claire, stay present, marvel at Mother Nature, give thanks for the rain, get some more work done. And when the rain passes, walk to the station and catch the next train. So that's exactly what I did. The train was only 5 minutes late. I stood on the platform and I saw a gorgeous rainbow. I got off at my stop and I walked to meditation class just as the sun was beautifully setting. And then I spent an hour in relaxation with some wonderful like-minded people. If only I had manifested that scenario before I had spent 30 minutes running around like a crazy woman in fear of my life. How many times have you got caught up in the negative vibe around you and let fear take over your mind? It could be something you see, hear or read in the media. It could be hanging around unhappy people. Or it could be simply a word or a statement that someone has spoken to you that day. Whatever the case may be, you need to recognise fear for what it is and take a stand against it, because fear will always disconnect you from your true self, and in doing so, it's going to stifle your happiness. So here are 4 things that you can put in place to try and avoid that thunderstorm wreaking havoc on your mind. Firstly, you need to be aware of your thoughts, and that means being present and taking a moment to stop and check in on how you're feeling. Secondly, you need to say to yourself, do I like this present state that I'm in, and is it serving me well? Thirdly, if you don't, you need to change your thought patterns. Make up a different story in your head, one that's going to be more helpful, and then stop and breathe slowly, letting that story settle into your very being. And finally, you need to let that new story determine your next move and be the change that you want to see in the world. If you can continually practice that, you will start to replace fear with love. Love for who you are and what you need to live a peaceful, content, enlightened and happier life. So next time you see a storm looming on the horizon, make up a story that's going to keep you calm, safe and happy. I know that I'm going to get a lot of practice over the coming months. Have an awesome week and make sure you keep colouring this world with your health and your happiness. And I look forward to seeing you next time.